Alright, I'm gonna make a video on various different topics. Um so um since YouTube's a platform that anyone from any country can watch, I'm mostly gonna I'm gonna try to make this a template like so basically the topic of this video is um watching a fictional show, movie, or reading a fictional book. Um you sometimes you would it would be preferable to support the villain uh, because it is a fictional world made created from the author. So where do I begin with this? So the idea is like there's plenty of people who read these fictional books or watch these fictional movies, and their instinct is to root for the hero, right? Um, uh, um, however, you know, there's a lot of people who watch. There's a lot of people who that is not their first instinct. So um, so basically, um, say a particular country, um, country A, let's say, um, prefers to root for the villain in this fictional role. But country B, and it's a real life country, will root for the hero. So we don't know what country A is, and we don't know what country B is. The idea is that um, this type of thinking is not taught in school usually because, and I suppose political science is pretty close thing to this subject. It's not. That's just completely different. So, in many ways, it's completely different from what I'm saying. Um, however, the reason why this topic probably doesn't exist is because if you're talking about fictional books, um, I suppose in the early 20th century there are some such books, and I suppose the Bible is probably one of the oldest books. But for the most part, this is very recent, in the last 150 years or so. Because of that, there isn't a university subject for it because it's so recent. In contrast, the other subjects, could, like for example, math, science, um, that's been around for at least a few hundred years, um, probably a lot longer. But we all know history is supposed to encompass for the past over 1,000 years. Even the social sciences, many of them, have examples from history. So that would be so this type of topic um, is very recent in terms of making fictional comparisons to real world, and a lot of it relies on speculation, not really based on fact. Um, it would be very difficult to figure out the accuracy. Because it's so difficult, um, it's usually not, you probably would not find any book on this subject. It would be difficult to find a book that touches the subject. Because it's so, um, anyway, um, but for the most part, let's put it this way. Um, because it's like, why would the country that you live in, for example, country A, or root for the villain? Like, the author tries their best to portray the villain in the most negative way possible, or the the film director, it's even more obvious because of limited time. And most movies do not exceed 3 hours. Because of that, there's not much time to, because at least with a book, there's a lot more wiggle room in terms of how much you could emphasize certain details over others. So, with a movie, because of time constraints, you can't really, and you can't expect the actors to, 3 hours is probably the longest you can expect. Because of that, um, you can't really, um, but regardless, um, most fans of a particular franchise read both the book and watch the movie. There are some that only watch the movie, and then there are others that only want to read the book. So the idea is that um, it's like what's my point here? So basically, um, if you find yourself rooting for a hero, but then you realize that most people would actually root for the villain, then that would be a difficult realization. So this is what most people would consider a part of the IQ test. Um, Even though not supposed to, it's not supposed to, this part of the IQ test, whatever it's called, um, it's not supposed to, I mean, it doesn't seem to correlate with any markers of success in getting a college degree or getting to graduate school or anything like that. The idea is that, you know, it's like the thing with these fictional worlds created, the reason why, I mean, some of them are really popular in terms of a lot of people read them, for example, or a lot of people watched it, and some people get really obsessed over it. Um, but it's like, why would a lot of people root for the villain? It's just like, um, cause it's like perhaps, perhaps it's like, cause you know, perhaps the offer, even if their details, regardless of the development of the villain and how the villain got to, because it's just that perhaps the setting of the hero, like the establishment, um, it's just because could there be like a flaw in the particular society created by this? Um, it's like, well, what would the flaw be? Um, for example, because the thing is, like, it's a fictional world, so perhaps, um, you know, a lot of it, it's like, the offer, yeah, it's like this, um, the fictional world is not Paris, right? It's just there's certainly limitations on who like they have like all these characters, right? They can't put that much detail on every character, right? So it's just the main characters and perhaps the main villain that gets a lot of the details from the, yeah, in terms you get to understand them more clearly. From you know, reading the book, for example. Um, I appear to be rather confused on why people would root for the villain in this case. Now, like, well, what do I mean by that? Well, most people have not actually read, like, there's only, like, you can't expect most people to have read the book or watched the movie, right? So, this is more of a hypothetical what if, because because it is in this realm. It's like, well, you're gonna assume that most people in this country, in country A, will root for the villain. Well, like, even if they've never read the book, or how could you make that assumption? How could you make you know, that premise. That would be, see, that would be difficult. However, let's say you make that premise, and it turns out, and you make your decisions in life based off of that. Um, Ideally, you know, if the premise is correct, it would lead to success. Because of that, does that mean the premise is actually correct? Perhaps. Um, this requires understanding of a lot of different things. So, um, uh, um, I do apologize for not having this video cleared up.